Imagine, it's 2016, and you and your friend are playing the brand new smash hit game Pokemon Go. While walking near a lake, you see something unbelievable and rush to get your friend's attention. You both see a giant frog much larger than any frog you've ever seen. You switch to your camera and start taking a video in the darkness when suddenly the frog stands up and begins walking towards you. Your friend grabs your arm and you both run for safety, hearing a faint deep. These friends didn't know it then, but they had possibly awakened an ancient evil of the land, a creature known as the Loveland Frogman. It's a frogman, so I feel like a harmonica is necessary. It's so quiet in here.
No, I really like it. It sounds good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. That was really nice. The Frogman, this story is fucking stupid. It's really nuts. And I feel like this is one of those stories where I start it, and I'm like, I'm going to struggle to fill 3 pages worth of information. Mm-hmm. And then I have to cut stuff at the end because it's too much info. There was a whole series that I was trying to work on that I had to cut because it was just too much.
I used to do that in college with my papers. I would procrastinate, wait till like the 11th hour, and then I'd have too much written.
It's because we're better than the average person, Chris.
Booyah!
So, I didn't even introduce you. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the I'm Not Crazy podcast. My name is Andrew Venor. I'm your host. And today we are joined with Christopher. I was going to say Quis Longueira. Okay. Christopher Longueira.
Hello, everybody.
Is that sufficient this time?
Sure.
Last time we were a little confused on that.
Yeah. No, it's appreciated.
If you're familiar with the show and you're a returning listener, I would highly encourage you to leave a rating, please. Review the podcast. Share the podcast with a friend, do all that stuff. Make sure you go check out the TikTok. It's going to be on the bottom of the screen here with this beautiful little graphic I made. That's the end of that. And that's really it. So, with all that being said, we're going to get into the sources of today's episode.
Sure, let's do it.
We're going to get into that book in a minute.
Okay.
The main source is today, the first 10-ish pages of Google, 10-ish, said that weird, pages of Google when you search Loveland Frogman. But the idea came from this little book called It Came From Ohio by James Renner. This book has, I would say, about 7 to 10 stories about Ohio legends. There's a lot of stuff in here I didn't know, so there will be future episodes. We're really excited about that. And even though the stories are really short, they're only like 4 to 5 pages each, they are great for sparking some interest in a story like this and then doing some independent research and finding out there's a ton of fucking stuff about it. Yeah. So this is going to be one of the main sources of source. We're just going to get right into the creature and Loveland, Ohio.
Where is Loveland, Ohio?
Northeast of Cincinnati.
Okay. Understood. All right.
The Loveland Frogman is said to be just that, a frogman from Loveland, Ohio. It's a 3 to 5 foot tall reptilian creature, or possibly creatures with an S, multiple, with a huge frog-like mouth. Some witnesses claim it's simply a giant human frog hybrid, like some type of experiment gone wrong type thing, while other sightings see the reptilian creature as an extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial being. Either way, the image of a giant frog thing has stuck and become a little bit of a mascot for Loveland, Ohio. So it's not like plastered everywhere like Mothman is for Point Pleasant, but they have a marathon called the Frogman Marathon. There's a band called the Frogmen, and they play the local festival. It's really fantastic. We're going to get into that in actually a second. Loveland itself is a small suburb northeast of Cincinnati along the Little Miami River. It's a little confusing. It is not in Florida. It's the Little Miami River
of Ohio.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
The population of Loveland, the population is 13,000 as of 2021. So you can imagine we're going to be going all the way back to 1955. And you can imagine the population then was in the couple of thousands, being a very, very small community.
Okay.
The story of Frogman has become part of the Loveland culture. Even a triathlon being named after the Frogman, which I said. An acoustic cover band named Frogman, which, again, I said, slated to play the Frogman triathlon which I got to say they're probably fantastic. Go check them out. I found them on Facebook.
Yeah. They really like it in this place. They really love the product.
Listen, when you have something, you grab it.
Yeah.
You know, you grab it and you make that your identity, because what the fuck else are people going to Loveland for?
That's fair.
No offense. Now, like most strange cryptids, the local love for the monster has somewhat had an effect of demystifying the creature while also helping bend some of the facts along the way. So now let's start to the beginning of the story. Loveland, Ohio, 1955. The creature itself, like I said, is like a half human, half reptilian, or just a humanoid reptilian of some sort. It doesn't necessarily speak any languages that we know of. We don't even know of a sound that it makes other than there's a frog, but bigger.
Okay.
You know?
You said possibly creatures. Do these things,
multiple,
procreate?
We hope so.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll find out.
In one of the stories, there's multiple creatures, but in the other ones, there's just a single creature.
Gotcha. Okay.
Listen, this episode's gonna be a lot. We're gonna talk about reptilian creatures. I am going to hopefully bring you down the same journey that I went through, because right now you're probably like, oh, this is gonna be really stupid. And it is, but it's also going to be, by the end, you could be like, I'm not sure what's real or what's not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Fuck. And we're also gonna talk some shit about Wikipedia. So, Loveland, Ohio, 1955. You ready? The origin of the story takes us all the way back before color was invented, 1955. Starting with an unnamed businessman. That's written down in the script. Starting with an unnamed businessman. Now, since the story has been preserved by word of mouth, naturally, there are two different versions of the same story. And they're both, I just want to let you know, there are two different versions, two different main versions. They start and end the same way, it's the middle details that get a little muddied, right?
Okay.
As it goes, on May 25th, at about 3 a.m., the mysterious businessman was driving down a mysterious road in Loveland, Ohio, when suddenly he spotted something odd. This is where the stories diverge. In one story, the man spotted the creatures on the side of the road, and in another, he saw them on a bridge, either underneath or on top of. Either way, the man saw 3 reptilian creatures with wrinkly, hairless heads and huge frog-like mouths.
Okay.
And they were 3 to 4 feet tall. The creatures then stood on their hind legs as if they knew they were being watched. And just then, one of the creature lifts up a wand into the air, waves it around, causing blue sparks to go into all over in the air, flying around, scaring the fucking hell out of this mysterious businessman, who promptly turned around and got the fuck out of there.
Oh my god.
That's sighting 1.
Listen, if I was that guy, I would have hightailed it out of here. Bro, magical frogmen?
What a weird sighting. They're magical wizard frogmen with wands going, hee in the forest somewhere. And this guy's just, trying to sell fucking, it's 1955, to try to sell those weird turquoise blue blenders. And, absolutely unbelievable. Really terrifying shit. Really, really crazy stuff. And with that, a local legend was born, cementing the idea into the tiny community. But unlike other cryptids, it would be close to another 20 years before a frogman will be seen again. So this is just the prologue to a much longer story. So now let's travel forward in time 17 years to 1977, where the story really takes place. The major sightings. So now this is like in the movie when you have the prologue and it shows like a family getting murdered by the dude, and then it ends with him like walking into the distance, and he's coming back. Sure. And then it cuts to black. It's like, and then it just says like 1972 on the bottom, and it fades in.
Yeah, it like cut out on the wand, and then it goes right into it. Okay.
All right. So the first major sighting was by a young man named Ray Shockey. And boy, was he shockeyed.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, man. He became a police officer like 2 years before this. Keep that in mind. This is very important, right? Okay. Very small community. Only by 1970s, maybe 4,000 people, right? Very small community. He is a cop for 2 years, and he is working in a place where these cops are there for 35, 40 years, right? Okay. And now these are the cops that he has to report to. So now keep that in your brain the entire time, because I watched a lot of videos. There is one video that I watched. If you search Loveland Frogman, I don't know what the video is called. I will put it on the bottom of the screen. If you're not watching it on YouTube, I'm sorry. You're going to have to check out the YouTube to find out. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. This kid somehow, for some reason, he films it like really like underneath, like it's a scary story.
Okay.
And he has a light tilted underneath, and he's just in the tiniest little corner. And he's just like, and in Ohio, and the Loveland Mothman, and he's going and flying into the sky. And it's the funniest video I've ever watched on YouTube.
It seems like the character that would talk about something.
Some of the videos I have to watch to get through this shit, I should just be every once in a while someone should just come to my house and go, I'm sorry, man, just give me a hug.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
we can arrange that if you'd like. I
guess that's what this is.
All right.
You know, I guess once a week everyone comes to my house and lets me just talk, and then like, good job, Andrew, you did great. So, you ready? This is gonna get nuts.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so on March 3rd, 12 days before my birthday, 12.
The Ides of March.
Yeah, 12 days before Julius Caesar dead. On March 3rd, 1972, Ray was on a late-night patrol in Loveland, Ohio, when he spotted what he thought was a dead or injured animal on the side of Twitewee Road. Twitewee Road. Twitewee Road. But he rode up on the body. It suddenly leapt up and ran in front of the cruiser, being lit up in the process. In the headlights, not by guns. Yeah. In the headlights. And what stood in the light terrified the young officer. He described it as a beast 4 to 5 feet long, weighing 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery skin and, again, a large mouth similar to a frog. After standing in the light for a couple seconds, the creature quickly scaled the guardrail on the side of the road and disappeared down into the water below. Scared out of his mind, Ray rushes out there and immediately reports what he saw. The following morning, Loveland officers made their way down to the scene to try to find this monster, but all they could find were scrapes on the guardrail where the beast had climbed over. That's 100% true.
Yeah. No,
yeah, so he went to his superiors, and they were like, "Bro, shut up."
Yeah, they didn't take him seriously at all.
Yeah, and he reported it to them, and then they were like, "Just take the night off. Like you're fucked up, bro. Take the night." And they give him the night off, and then he goes to like his mom's house, and his mom was like, "Yo, he was dead serious. Like he was nervous." Yeah. Pretty crazy.
I'm sure.
It's pretty cut and dry so far.
Yeah, you know? I mean, yeah, it's pretty understandable. I'm not surprised that they're not taking him seriously.
Not at all. Yeah, this is classic monster movie reaction. Yeah. They're like, all right, Ray, this new guy thinks that he's going to save the town. They're all drinking coffee and someone's dying in the forest somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Ray Shockey was a new cop in a very small town police department. So obviously no one was going to be receptive to a monster story. Though they went and saw the scrapes on the guardrail, they thought nothing of it, and Shockey became the joke of the entire department.
Of course.
Within a few days, people were really ridiculing Shockey hard. And I got to tell you, I'm not surprised, because he said that he saw a giant frogman.
Yeah. They probably went up to him with their cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Hey, you got shocked, huh, Shockey?
Yeah. And they were ribboning him.
Exactly.
Just fucking shoot me. And this went on for a couple weeks until his partner, Mark Matthews, great name, would encounter the Frogman just 2 weeks later.
Okay.
So now this is fucking Shockey's partner. And I have a theory about this whole story that we will get to at the end.
Okay.
And I think I'm right because it's my theory.
Sure.
Mark Matthews was once again on a late night patrol on Twitewee Road. Yeah. Where he also stated he saw what he thought to be an injured or dead animal on the side of the road once again. Matthews would ride up on it, and the creature would run the same play. I wrote that for you. Like football.
Yes, yeah. You know what? That was smart. I
wrote that like you for you. So I'll read it again just in case we missed it. Matthews would ride up on it, and the creature would run the same play, being lit up in the headlights before going over the guardrail towards the water. But Matthews wasn't having it like Shockey. He wanted proof.
Oh, he got dangerous, huh?
He started shooting.
Oh,
But the creature would get away once again, making Matthews the next laughingstock of the police department.
Yeah.
So now, it doesn't seem like the word got out to the whole town until this one, because now they're like, come on, what the fuck? Yeah. And they're two brand new cops. They're both like so new to the job. Mm-hmm. And no one's taking them. Everybody just thinks they're so stupid, you know?
Yeah.
And they just, no one believes them. Everybody's just like, they are totally just stupid. They're just stupid young cops, right?
Yeah.
Mark Matthews and Ray Shockey are living an actual nightmare, right?
Yes.
Like, imagine, in all those cartoons, they always have like that section where they dream about being on stage and like someone sees, like, with their pants, their underwear on or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so embarrassing, right? These guys were living that, but as adults, as a cop in the police department. So the entire town is supposed to be respecting you. And they don't respect Dick because you're saying that you see a frogman, and your partner's like, yeah, me too. And they're like, fuck that guy too. And it's just, the whole town finds out. Yeah. It spreads. Both officers' stories spread very fast, and this was now their legacy. This follows them until 2016. It's insane. We hear from them in 2016.
No way. Oh my God.
Yeah, these officers seem to have really never gotten their reputations back, though they both seem to have remained on the force. They both stayed to be cops until they retired.
Sure.
But they were always kind of laughingstocks from what I could find. Pretty
like
sad.
Even past that, it just stood with them forever.
Forever.
Oh my God.
And with that, the Frogman would find his way back to his dimension. I butchered that. And with that, the Frogman would find his way back to his dimension. That is, until 2016.
Okay.
Pokemon No sighting. You see that? Because that's bad. You don't want to see them. It's bad. You don't want to see them. Now it's time to go back to the beginning. As I said before, but there definitely wasn't a cut where I was concerned about the episode being too short. We're going to go back to the beginning of the episode, the intro of the episode, the Pokemon Go sighting.
Okay.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Frogman.
You did mention that you had a theory about the two partners. Is that going to come?
Oh, that's going to come into play in a little bit. Remind me later when we get back to Shockey and Matthews.
Sure. Okay.
A man by the name of Sam, not Sam, was with his girlfriend by Lake Isabella in Loveland, Ohio, when they saw something strange in the water. Jacob claimed, and quote, "We saw a huge frog near the water. Not in the game. This was an actual giant frog. Then the thing stood up and walked on its hind legs. I realize this sounds crazy, but I swear my grandmother's grave, this is true."
His grandmother's
This is quoted from the guy. The frog stood about 4 feet tall. Either way, I've never seen anything like it. And they were able to get footage of the creature before getting away unharmed. This sighting went on to make the news. You know you're famous when you make the news in Loveland, Ohio. Marking another sighting into the legend 5 decades later from the first supposed sighting.
Look at this.
5 decades and a year. Holy shit. So now these are the pictures, right?
Yeah. Look at the shine on those eyes. Oh my God.
Okay.
I'd be terrified.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one I think is from the video. The second one I do not believe is from the video.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We're gonna get into the reasons in a little bit, but just keep that in mind. But these pictures, we're looking at pictures. I have the pictures in the script. Look them up. If you look up Loveland Frogman, they're really grainy pictures of a humanoid frog standing in a lake. It's genuinely, if this is from the video, genuinely, I have some theories about this later also. If this is actually from the video that they took, all jokes aside, this could be some of the most compelling cryptid video. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that looks...
Yeah.
If I saw that in the water, I would have ran immediately. I wouldn't have took a picture.
You would have swore on your grandmother's grave you saw it. That's all that matters.
My grandfather's grave.
Sorry to hear it. Yeah.
That's all right.
Wait, who's dead? Which one's dead?
They're both dead.
Oh, shit. Fuck. Okay. So the story would make the news, bringing attention to an old legend. But Chris, how old?
How old?
Right? 1955, right?
True.
Wrong! According to James Renner in the book, it came from Ohio. That's the book over here. That's one of the sources.
Correct.
While interviewing locals for the book, he learned of the possible origin of the Frogman.
So this goes deeper?
This is a 300-year-old tale, apparently.
Are you kidding me?
This is so stupid.
All right, lay it on me.
So now we're going to go back to when the Frogman was known as the river demon of the Little Miami.
Honestly, that's a more terrifying name. I kind of like it better.
This is kind of nuts if this is true.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to Renner, the dates are a little spotty, but this seems to have taken place around 1696 in the very land of modern-day Loveland, Ohio. According to the legend, French missionaries arrived that year, meeting a native tribe and befriending them. Sometime during the process, the native began to warn the French of a creature called the Shawshannook.
Shawshannook?
No, that's not how you say it. The Shawnahook, sorry.
Shawnahook.
Shawnahook. They claimed the creature was humanoid, with wrinkled, hairless skin and no nose. It would stalk and protect the river, letting the French know that they had shot it with an arrow and it was completely unfazed. Now they just avoid it, claiming it could never be killed. The name of the tribe was Twightweed.
Oh, shit.
The same name given to the road of future sightings of the Frogman, a.k.a. the Shawnahook, if you believe the story.
I mean...
That is what the locals tell. Is that it's like this is like a poltergeist situation. This is a curse, you know.
I mean, yeah.
We moved the graves, but we never moved the bodies. I messed that up horribly at the beginning, but you get the point. You know?
I love how their first thought was just shoot it with an arrow.
Yeah, they were like, shit, fuck, I didn't do anything. You know, he who runs with wolves, let's go. And then they left. Is that racist? Is it?
You like brinked on the edge.
It's all right. Listen, we're gonna call it edgy and call it a day.
You're like right here.
But yeah, no. So they apparently this has been something that's been in the land forever, and I will say reptilian creatures aren't new to history.
No,
you know, we have the Japanese have the kappa, which is like a humanoid turtle. That's what the kappa in Mario is based off of.
The Koopa.
The Koopa is named based off of the kappa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
they're humanoid turtles.
Mario's a plumber.
Mario is a plumber, which are other cryptids, just like electricians. Do you actually know any?
Nah.
I don't know a single electrician.
You ever been in a room with an electrician?
I have. I used to work for an electrician, actually, funny enough. Oh. I've been in multiple rooms with multiple electricians. It was a joke, Chris. You took it too far, okay?
Sorry.
So, with all this being said, it is important to take a step back and acknowledge the absurdity of the entire 3+ century story of the Frogman. I'm losing my shit.
Okay. Question.
Maybe answer.
Why, if this was a legend of 300 years, why did no one take the officer seriously?
According to James Renner, this isn't he spoke to both officers and neither one of them knew of this legend.
Okay.
So this is not something. When I said that this is the one that the locals put forward, if you ask the locals that have been there for a really long time, this is the one that they tell you. But
okay. But I
don't think that this is like. I don't think any of this is very widespread at all.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, this is like an Angola pigman thing.
Okay.
It's just one of those weird local things that grew and grew and then it just became its own.
Yeah.
You know, Frogmen.
Yeah. It becomes their identity. I understand.
Yeah. It becomes the idea of the tulpa, which we talked about in multiple episodes in the past. It's this entity that you make. It's a thought being. You know, in real life, Freddy Krueger is a literal example of a tulpa. Like, they bring him to life by believing in him. It's just an entity that becomes real because you make it real. Yeah. And it's just one of those.
Okay.
You know, sure. It's only real because we are talking about it and making it real, which in turn makes it a real thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, Bigfoot is real in every sense of the word. It's just we can't find one, but we have a lot of statistics about Bigfoot, which is strange. You know, and I'm not saying it's real like Bigfoot is real. You know what I mean? Like it's living in our brains.
Exactly.
You know,
if you play
in our hearts.
If you play Red Dead Redemption, there's Bigfoot in that.
It's a man in a suit.
That's true.
Yeah.
But then he cries when his entire population is dead, so it's kind of fucking.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of GTA 5.
Yeah.
In GTA 5, you find the Bigfoot, but it's a man in the suit.
No.
Oh, you're right.
Remember when he's sitting on the tree and he says, Kill me!
Yeah, you're
Kill
right.
me! Yeah. I don't want to be on this land. Yeah.
Right. Who would have thought, man? So, let's look at this from a truthful lens. As we like to do on this show, I like to build it up, and then just fucking destroy any hope that you had that this was real. That's what we do here, right?
I love it.
So now we're going to go to the truthful look. And I got to say, this is surprisingly enigmatic. What's the word? Is that the word? Yeah, we're going to go with enigmatic. I did it right the first time. Truthful look, 1955 and the Shanahuk. These stories have no real origin, leading me to believe they are more of an add-on to the urban legend and less real events. The Shanahuk was something I couldn't find a single trace of without someone referencing this book.
Really?
Swear to God. Not a single fucking thing, and anytime I'm like, oh, this guy talked about it, it's like, the source is this book. I swear. So I can't find anything. So I'm going to take the 55 and the original. I'm just going to take those out of the story and say that those are almost definitely just add-ons to make it more interesting. Flavor text, as you will.
That makes sense.
If you have proof that I am wrong, and you're listening, you're saying, no, that is false. I have historical documented proof of the Native American thing or the 1955 documents of what happened. There's an email on screen. Go to it. It's I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy podcast official at gmail.com. Very long. It's all that was available. Deal with it. All right. Thank you. So now we're going to get to the Pokemon Go sighting.
Okay.
This one is surprisingly mysterious.
Okay.
So, according to Wikipedia, this sighting was proven false, claiming it to be a student from the local high school in a frog suit. But if you follow the sources listed for the claim on Wikipedia, this is not what the article claims. It leads you to a student paper, which is already a good place to be. An article in a student paper for a high school in Loveland, Ohio. So the students are telling the story of the Frogman in the article. Okay. It claims the 1955 sightings, the 72 sightings, and then the 2016 sightings, right?
Gotcha.
Then it claims that they separately go and find the Frogman themselves, with it actually just being a student from the school in a frog suit. The joke continues with them referring to the student as Jim to hide his identity, with Jim stating that he wasn't the actual Frogman, he was just a huge fan and he would dress up and hang out in the sewer tunnels. Therefore, those photos are not debunked officially and are still pretty creepy as well as the video.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it's not debunked is because I understand what the guy was trying to say. The guy was trying to say, these kids were like, it's me. I was in the suit, but I'm not actually frog. No, it's not what it says. This is why you got to read sources, Wikipedia. It's not what it says.
Yeah.
What it says, Wikipedia, what it says is that it's referencing, and then it's just a totally different, you see what I'm saying? Just two, it's like 1955, 1972, 2016. Mm-hmm. There's a line drawn in the sand. Everything else happened after that. It had nothing to do with each other.
Okay. Yeah. No, like you said, he just comes in from the other dimension and rejoins us.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Now, the photos I showed earlier are screenshots of the footage that was supposedly edited to get those shots, which I said earlier. Though I feel like the video attached to the article could have been possibly made from those could not have possibly made those screenshots. I reached out to my cousin Matthew for his outlook. Matthew is a video editor. He's very good at this stuff. And I said, hey, I showed him the video. I FaceTimed him. I showed him the video and I said, what would need to be done to that video to get those photos? And he strongly believes that no matter how much work you do to that video, you will not get those photos. Which I agree. The video is just blackness with two eyes, right? Mm-hmm. He feels the screenshots couldn't have come from the videos, as I said. But he also feels as though the video on the website is not the same quality as the version used to get those screenshots. Mm-hmm. So he says that what probably happened is the video was on somewhere, like YouTube or something like that. It was then downloaded, which compressed it once. Then it was uploaded to their site, which then it was embedded to and compressed again. He said by the time it gets to that site, it's compressed multiple times. He said this is not the quality of the actual iPhone photo. Which is the video which they actually took screenshots from.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, that sounds pretty plausible.
It does, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would love to think this is real and it's not a Boeing suit, you know? But this is important to the video, because if you believe the pictures, it's a humanoid frog. If you believe the video with no context, it could just be a normal sized frog that you zoomed into, because there's no context of surrounding. It's just darkness.
Yeah.
You know? So it could just be a regular frog that you zoomed into to make it look big.
Have you ever seen that? There's a guy that does that on social media.
Yeah, the therapy gecko.
Yeah. And it's like, it looks like this massive frog, and then he shows, like, it's not, like, on a table.
We're talking about two different things.
Oh, really?
I'm talking about the guy that dresses him as a gecko and has, like, Wiz Khalifa on to take phone calls.
No, there's this guy, he, like, has a massive frog in a tank. But it's just like because of the camera, how it's pointed, and then he just goes into the tank and lifts it up, and it's the size of his hand.
That's fantastic.
But it looks like it's gigantic.
That's basically what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's basically what I'm talking about. Okay. Because it's again, if those screenshots are real, it's pretty crazy. If they're not, sorry, but it's not that impressive. You just filmed a frog. And here, if the screenshots are fake, it's nothing new. We see this all the time. You know, how many times have we gotten a chupacabra body? How many times have they taken a picture of the Jersey Devil? There was just a Bigfoot video that it was a black bear. How many times? You know? Mm-hmm. But if they were genuine, this could be some of the wildest evidence of a cryptid I have ever seen, and I stand by that.
Yeah. No, that is true. I don't think you're going to get anything more solid than that. So
it is shocking, my man.
Yeah.
Shocking. Some would say shocky. As in Shockey and Matthews.
Oh, this is what I've been
attorney at law.
to. Yeah,
even though they were cops, they weren't attorneys.
But good partners.
But they were at law.
Mm-hmm.
In an interview with ABC 9 in Cincinnati, in reaction to the 2016 sighting, I'm not even joking, the 2016 sighting started to blow up because, again, they were in Loveland, Ohio. Started blowing up in the city. They were like, oh, fun little legend comes back. And Matthews is like, no, he slams his whiskey on the ground and goes, I'm going to call the fucking news station and do an interview with them, right? Matthews claimed for the first time ever that he had actually killed the creature that night and recovered the body, very angrily explaining that it was all a hoax and people need to just leave it alone. That is the scariest response you could have given me, because now I think that you saw a frogman, you know, and you're riddled with the fucking, I don't know, just fucking so upset that people are talking about your worst nightmare. In 2016, they're like, Pokemon Go, more like Pokemon Frogman, and he's just like, enough! Punching holes in his TV.
He was probably just living his life, like, alone, retired.
Just fucking miserable.
Woke up, and he's watching the TV, he saw it on the news. Yeah. The Frogman's back, he said.
He even claimed that he showed Shockey the body, Ray Shockey. He claims that he showed him the body and confirmed that what he saw was nothing more than a sick iguana missing its tail. Right? This is where it gets even crazier.
Yeah.
This would seem like an answer to the question. But why would he wait until 2016 to reveal the information?
You read my mind.
You figured maybe this is the first interview he's ever done, right?
Yeah.
This information would have easily been helped. This information would have easily helped his and Shockey's reputation in town. And as we stated earlier, both men were beyond embarrassed and just wanted this to all go away. So why wouldn't you reveal this earlier? It would solve the whole problem, right? I believe he said this to try to squash any resurgence of the legend, as I said with the whole, thing I just did.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Matthews did an interview in 2001 for a magazine called I don't remember what it's called, where he said the whole thing was a hoax, but he claimed that they did not recover a body and they didn't actually see what it was that night. I said,
what?
I said he said he was wrong about the measurements and claimed that it had to be someone's escaped pet, but we'll never know.
Yeah. I don't think this guy even knows.
Though I cannot find the original magazine article because it was printed in a magazine, the author of the source book, It Came from Ohio by James Renner, alludes to Matthews claiming the creature got away. And what about Shockey?
Yeah.
We're talking about Matthews. What about Shockey?
Yeah, I want to know about the first man.
You are going to be Shockeyed in a second.
This guy, he's staying all this crazy stuff.
Matthews is very, doesn't really have too much, stability.
Yeah, I kind of figured. How old are they in 2016?
I figured they were like 20 in 72.
Yeah.
So what does that make them? 30 would be 2012, would be 40. So they're like in their late 60s.
Okay. Yeah.
No, early 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
He might.
Matthews is very upset by it. Listen, man, if you come across this and you manage to listen to this, I believe you.
Yeah. No, Mark Matthews, we're with you, man.
I don't believe him. I think that he's a frogman.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I don't believe him. his reactions are like you know, in a horror movie when they catch the guy and he's like, I didn't see anything. I have no idea what you're talking about. Just don't go there. But I don't know what you mean. It's all fucking fake. Like that's they saw it.
Yeah.
You know, they saw it. It's just like it's the Streisand effect. But what about Shockey?
Yeah.
Well, he did speak on the creature to James Renner from the book. It came from Ohio. While speaking to Renner, he claimed the following, and I quote, I made up my mind a long time ago never to talk about it again. It gave me so much grief. And as Renner turned to leave, Shockey stopped him, and as if straight out of a horror movie, he claimed, I will tell you this much. It wasn't a frog, wasn't an iguana either. It was bigger.
What were these guys on?
Fucking freedom. They're nothing. It was 1972 Ohio. They were cops. They probably couldn't even drink water in large quantities because they would be afraid they'd be a little tinged. They did nothing. Nothing.
Oh my god. But like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like,
so I gotta tell you, the 72 sightings, I mean, they really fuck with my brain because these guys really are convinced they saw a giant frog.
Yeah,
and two of them saw it in the exact same spot doing the same thing. It's my theory time. Okay, so my theory is that I think that Shockey 100% wholeheartedly saw something that he believes to be a frogman.
Sure.
100%, right?
Especially with the guardrail stuff.
Yeah. I think that Matthews might have made up his story to cover for Shockey, thinking that maybe if I add some credibility, it'll help his reputation. And he got dragged right down with it.
Oh.
And now he is just bitter and upset.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do everything he can to be like, it's a fucking shut up. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
And I think he's just mad at himself and the world.
Because it sounds like they kind of got abused for their entire life.
Yeah. Matthew's response makes it very obvious that he, let's just say the locker room at work was probably very daunting.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the frogman. Guys.
Yeah.
Every day for the rest of their
What are
life.
you, frogman? What are you going to the shower, frogman? You got to get your skin all wet, frogman? What'd you eat for dinner tonight, frogman? Worms, frogman?
Flies.
Just driving in the cruiser with people screaming at him through the radios, making fun of him. Just an awful life. You know? Yeah. Awful life.
Oh, poor guys.
Yeah. So, Ancient Beast. The idea that the creature is an antediluvian beast, which if you remember from the Van Meter episode, antediluvian means before biblical times, so very old. So basically, before BC, let's just say, or even before that, because it's before the Old Testament. So really old, quite old, as they would say in history.
Okay.
This isn't out of character for cryptids to be claimed to be an antediluvian monster. The Mothman, Chupacabra, Van Meter Mizzer, and others that we have covered personally on this podcast in the past fit the idea of an antediluvian creature in some way, shape, or form. With that, there are stories of people seeing all types of reptilian creatures throughout history as well. In fact, if you look up the list of reptilian humanoids on Wikipedia, and again, read the sources, I'm not going to just tell you to use Wikipedia after fucking dogging on them before. But they have a list of reptilian humanoids. You could go to the pages and then you could look at all the sources and they'll bring you to historical documents. They're great. There's fucking tons of them. There are so many reptilian creatures in lore all over the world. Any place that was by water has an idea of this creature, right? Yeah. That being said, I'm also of the opinion that we most likely would have found something like this before. This isn't the wilderness of Alaska or the depths of the ocean. This is the very populated river of fucking Ohio. In fact, look up the section of the Little Miami River on Google Earth. Both sides of the river had houses on them for miles and miles and miles. Like, the river is most people's backyards, right?
Okay.
thousands of people have access to this river daily. They could just look at the river for a full day and there's nothing there. And the river itself is at absolute most, and this is being generous, I doubled the number that I found. This is being generous, is at most 350 feet wide. At most. So, it is a small-ass river.
This frogman doesn't have a lot of real estate.
He is choking by the ear, you know? And the fact that there have been 4 sightings of it over this time, over the last 50-plus years, I don't feel like it's an actual creature. I don't think it's like a long-lost fucking species. I just don't think it is.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm with you.
I don't.
Okay.
Was it aliens?
Oh, I forgot about that.
We're going to play Is It Aliens? The reoccurring shit on the show that we keep doing. Is it aliens? It never is fucking aliens.
But it's always a possibility.
It's always there. Yeah. Anytime we do a cryptid, it's is it aliens? No. It's not aliens, it turns out. But we're going to do it anyway. Sorry to spoil it. This brings us to our favorite segment of the show. Is it aliens? Boo! According to some believers, you know, they're out there. There aren't many of them.
There's got to be one.
The 1955 sightings reads more like a gray alien sighting instead of a frogman sighting. The appearance is strange, as they look like frogmen. But the wand is a piece of evidence that sticks to this case the most. So there's a card game called MetaZoo, and it's cryptid based. It's pretty cool, right? And if you look up the Loveland Frogman monster, it's a frog dressed as a wizard with a wand. This is the thing that's stuck, is the frog with the wand. That's stuck because it's so stupid, right? Some see this mysterious instrument as otherworldly or ultra-terrestrial. You know, our boy John Keel, shout out. And they see it as a machine that's used to travel through time and or space. So if they're extraterrestrial, they go through space. Ultra-terrestrial, they go through time. We get the feeling. We understand the things here, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Go watch older episodes. You don't understand the difference between those two things. I just don't think that that's true.
Yeah, nah, I don't.
Yeah, I just don't think so.
Yeah, but I like the idea of the otherworldly machine that the wand is.
Well, so do you know what greys are said to be, actually?
No.
We're about to get a little saucy here.
Okay.
Very problematic, the lore behind what the greys actually are as a species. Very problematic. I just want to put out there, these are not our personal view. I'm talking for you. You know, you don't believe this. This is not our personal views. I don't believe any of this. I love people that aren't white. Let's just start with that, right? All people. Doesn't make a difference who you are, how dark you are, how tinged you are. I love you. I have nothing against you. So, the gray aliens are supposedly robotic slaves of the tall whites, which are the actual aliens, which are which is basically, right? It's like, you know how the grays are like short, stubby, fat little, right? The tall whites are just tall, lanky versions of them. They're really elegant and beautiful because, you know, this is what I was saying. I don't believe it, but this is the lore, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm defending myself against myself here.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm defending myself against myself.
You're doing well.
Thank you. So, the idea that they are just the robotic slaves using the little wand to get back, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And if it's like a push to start thing, where it's like they're just getting their stuff ready, putting the heat on because it's a little cold in that night in Ohio, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It would also be kind of cool if the Frogman was like I didn't want to get into this because the script is very long, but there's a guy in Ohio, in Loveland, right? His name was like Andrew Henrys, and he owned a castle. He built a castle because his wife left him. And this man is said to possibly be the origin of the 1955 on Frogman, because people claimed that he was like a real life Frankenstein. He would do experiments in his castle, and that Frogman was an escaped experiment. I like that better than aliens.
Yeah.
I don't believe in any of those things.
Sure.
What do you think? Now that we're done.
Yeah.
I mean, to a point. We still have the conclusion.
Yeah, it sounded like a lot of fun in the beginning, but, you know, as you break it down, and then I hear about our friends Shockey and Matthews, yeah, it doesn't really it doesn't add up at all.
Yep.
And then they kept just changing their stories, and then I mean, I get why they got abused all their lives.
It's just Matthews that changed the story. Shockey just
That's
stopped talking
true.
about it, but anytime he did, he was like, "Yeah, no, it was a frog human."
Yeah,
Frogman.
yeah. Poor
You know?
Matthews, man. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I would throw this one in the garbage.
I love Frogman as a character. I think it's super cool. I've kind of fallen in love with him as a legend.
Oh yeah,
It is so cool. It's the
such a
same
cool
way like
character.
Hitman. It's just so fucking sick. The whole thing is so sick.
yeah.
But you know, we'll see in a second how I feel because I wrote it in conclusion.
All right.
Well, then, what is it? Is it some kind of antediluvian creature that somehow managed to live for at least 300 years? Or is it an ultra-terrestrial being traveling through dimensions to cause mischief? I don't know, and neither does anyone else conclusively. All right?
Yes.
But I can say honestly, I love the story, I love the idea, and I am compelled.
Yeah,
Period.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that
This was
really
such an
exciting.
interesting story. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. It's so stupid.
I love it all. It just started from a businessman who
Yeah.
sold them with a wand.
Yeah.
And it just became
My thing
this.
is, like, you're a businessman. Why are you walking through the wilderness? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no.
Who
that
are you
is
selling to? You know?
No, he was going through the river.
Businessmen back then just sound like they were fucking, like, they were just on the Oregon Trail all the time, just traveling from one town to another, hoping to push, like, A to Z dictionaries.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, the life of a salesman in the 50s. But yeah, this is a weird story. You know, it's not the dumbest we've covered. We have Woody Darrenberger as an episode, but we, you know, this one is real close because it is an ancient frog creature that is like, says, get away from my water. I don't want you to eat it. You know, it's really stupid. It's really dumb.
Yeah. Maybe with the Pokemon Go thing, like, was it just maybe they were using the AR and it was just a Krogunk?
So I thought maybe it was the same thing. I don't know if you heard before, but he swore on his grandmother's grave.
He did.
And he also says, and I quote, "We saw a huge frog near the water, not in the game. This was an actual giant frog."
Oh, not in the game. Yes, yeah.
You know, like, I gotta say, I appreciate Sam Jacobs on this because his testimony was like, you can't get it confused. It wasn't in the game.
It was with my
I'm
eyes.
saying these peepers saw a giant fucking frog. And you better believe
It
me.
wasn't a Pokemon, I promise.
It wasn't a Pokemon.
But yeah. Excellent, man.
You know what I think?
Sure.
I think you should review this podcast because if you listen this far, I'm going to say you like it because why are you wasting your time if you don't fucking click off? All right? Rate it 5 stars or, you know, whatever you feel, but anything less than that is, you know, in your right as a free adult, I guess. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. That's down there. Chris, make sure you follow Chris on his tags. It's going to be down there as well.
Thank you.
And listen, at the end of the day, you know what I say? I think you should Pokemon go to the polls.